Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SportsNetUSA.net. And this is the 2019 SoCal Regionals, the California Community College Athletic Association SoCal Regionals between the host team, Santiago Canyon. The Hawks are going to take on the Pasadena City Lancers. Yesterday's game, the Hawks took the game 4-2 in the first of a three-game set, as the Lancers look to bounce back in this one. In the circle for the Santiago Canyon Hawks is Danielle Stallings and Neyland and Mark Pavlovich on the call. Mark, it should be a great game today.
Well, really, and the thing you have to look at is some of the numbers you look at when you look at both these teams. I think what Santiago has done is, Corey, they've improved defensively as the year has gone on. They ended up the season in a 4-game skid before coming into the playoffs, which everybody sort of wondered what would happen on that. Then what did they do? They played solid defense yesterday against a very good opponent. And when you look at the season itself, they're only .936 defensively out there. They haven't been that solid defensively, but what they've had is, with Stallings in the circle, she's had a pretty good season. Her ERA is 2.82. We'll argue that maybe the entire game about ERAs. But I think what the Lancers need to do in this second game that they must win or it's all over, they've got to get the Stallings quick in the first couple innings or they're in deep trouble against this very fast Santiago team.
Samantha Diaz steps up to the plate and she takes the first pitch from Stallings for a strike. It is 0-1 Samantha Diaz to start the game off. Kaylee Madrano will bat second, and batting third is Danielle Ruiz. Ruiz, a first-team All-SCC, as well as Madrano, and as well as Diaz. So all three All-SCC performers, 1 ball, 1 strike, and that second pitch was high.
You look at Diaz for a leadoff hitter, .436 on base percentage. When you think about that, you want your leadoff hitter getting up there every other time. She really has the capability of doing that.
Okay. And that is ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike, the CCCAA SoCal Regionals, Mark, and it's a nice day here in Orange County. Stallings, 3 balls and 1 strike. Good eye by Diaz. Both these teams like to walk, especially Pasadena. Pasadena likes to get on base and put pressure on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, you realize Stallings is even walks to strikeouts. She's sitting there at 30-30. You like to have a 3-to-1 ratio.
And there's a strike. She said a 3-to-1 ratio. She said 3-2. Let's make it.
Well, I don't know. The president already made a controversial call behind home plate.
Danielle Stallings in the circle with the face mask. Sabrina Rivera, her catching mate at first base. Nicole Garcia. 3-2 pitch payoff is high. Yes, it is, and that is ball number 4. So leadoff batter aboard, and that's Kaylee Madrano, who does everything for the Lancers. Madrano, 383 coming into this series. Right-handed batter steps in. So at first is Nicole Garcia. Amanda Pasillas at second base. Trails her bunt. She lays one down the first base side. Only play is the first, and Pasillas makes the grab. But a sacrifice advances the runner to second base.
And Corey, I was just going to ask you if this is the game that you look for that first run. If you're Pasadena, I already said you have to jump on top of Santiago, because if Santiago gets that first walk, it's going to be a double. When you think about this team and the way they run, Pasadena does not have the running capabilities as their opponent does in this game today. No, you're going to say yes, I say no.
All right, Danielle Ruiz steps in. She's another all-conference performer, first team. Ruiz batted .390, which led the team. And you'll like this, Mark, on defense, 1 error in 104 chances at second base. Runner at second is Diaz. That's also high. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Top of the first inning.
Okay, and I'm going to go back because you just shake your head. Yeah, they can steal as well as Santiago. Then why drop the sacrifice to start this game?
You want that first run.
Okay.
Inside and high. 2 balls and 1 strike.
And if you're a Santiago fan, this is what you get from Stallings when she's out there. She may get those occasional strikeouts, but Corey, she really does count on her defense to bail her out of innings.
And we'll get that defensive lineup set for you in just a moment. This one's lined in the left field. That is foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Garcia at first, Pasillas at second. Third base is Cosette Zock. Alyssa Baltiera at shortstop. Tiana Flores in left field. Riley Sipe, the all-state player Riley Sipe, in center field. And Jillian Diker is in right field. As we mentioned, Sabrina Rivera behind the plate for the Hawks. This is low. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Behind the plate is Dave George, Mr. President.
The president, that's right. I'm in his fan club.
Jason Robinson on the right side in the field. And John Bennett down the left field line is your third umpire for today's game. Bounce foul.
And watch Jason, the infield umpire. If you could actually see him and watch him, he's watching the runner at second base to make sure that she doesn't leave too soon, that if the ball is that you're going to find somebody there that you don't say, hey, she was off the bag before the ball was released from the circle.
3-2 pitch. Hot shot foul. The runner at second base is Diaz. So batting fourth will be Natalia Velasquez, the left fielder. Batting fifth is Oli Nanez, the right fielder. Seventh is behind the plate, Jenny Chacon. Eighth is Gabby Perez. And ninth, the designated player, is Elise Allen. High pitch is strung on and missed, and that should be strike 3 or foul tip. Foul tipped it.
Well, you look at Ruiz and you look what she is that number 3 hitter. Batting average of .390, on-base percentage of .515, and a slugging percentage of .537, but she strikes out.
Good cuts here by Ruiz. And actually, Elise Allen is batting 8th. Batting 9th is Valley Febles.
Ruiz has 14 strikeouts so far this year. She leads the team in strikeouts.
Taking good cuts here on a full count with 1 out. Top of the first, and popped it straight up and straight back.
Gabby Neyland with the gun just a little off to our left, so she can't really tell us how fast the pitches are going.
The sun is going through that.
3-2 count.
Ruiz takes inside for strike 3, catches that corner. Danielle Stallings keeps that runner at second base for the second out.
Bumblebees.
So steps into the plate is Natalia Velasquez. She takes that one at the knees for a strike. So Danielle Stallings trying to calm down here with the runner on second, a leadoff walk for Diaz. Oh, 1 pitch on the way. Off-speed pitch is beauty. Strike number 2, 0-2 with 2 outs. So Natalia Velasquez, second team all-conference. The sophomore takes the third pitch just outside. Ball number 1. She's out of Birmingham Charter High School. On the season, she batted .324 with an on-base percentage of .412. She lifts one in the left field. Underneath is Flores for the third out of the inning. So after the leadoff runner gets on board, it's no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. And I'll bring up Santiago Canyon for their bottom half of the first.
And of course, when you look at Santiago Canyon, they're going to start with Vivian Little in the circle, the freshman, you look at her so far this season, she's somebody who has been the third pitcher for this Lancers team with an ERA of 2.02 out there. But she's probably more of a strikeout pitcher, Corey, than you could say the other two pitchers are. Here for Pasadena, you look at her, she's got 37 strikeouts and only 19 walks. So almost a 2-to-1 ratio. And this is a must-win game for this Lancer team. That's right, it's 2 out of 3 here. Santiago won yesterday, so really when you think about it, the Lancers' back is against the wall, and they really need to find something to do. Who's in the driver's seat? Well, if I was in the driver's seat, I'd be driving that car from Miller Toyota of Anaheim. That's right, located at Euclid and the 91. Miller Toyota of Anaheim is a proud sponsor of community college sports, high school sports, and most of all, education. So while you're cruising around today, and you say after this game's done, you take a little break, or if there's two, you go after that second game, cruise over to Euclid in the 91 and tell Miller Toyota, hey, I watch the games on sports.usa.net, and the guys told me y'all get the best deal in the world here at Miller Toyota of Anaheim.
And now we're going to see the Hawks up to bat, but let's set that defense for the Lancers. Like you said, Mark, Vivian Little in the circle. Jenny Chacon behind the plate. Valley Febles at first base with Danielle Ruiz at second. Samantha Diaz at third, and Kaylee Madrano at shortstop. Third, short, and second mark, all conference. Madrano and Ruiz, two of the better second and short combinations you'll see in community college softball. Natalia Velasquez in left field, Gabby Perez in center, and Oli Nanez in right field. So Riley Sipe will lead off for the Hawks, followed by Tiana Flores and Cosette Zock. 1, 2, and 3. Fourth place hitter, the cleanup, is Sabrina Rivera. Danielle Stallings batting fifth. Viviana Vejar, the designated player, batting sixth. Nicole Garcia at seventh. Alyssa Baltiera batting eighth. And Amanda Pasillas is batting ninth. The flex player is Jillian Diker in right field, but she is flexing. So, we're ready to go.
I'm ready. Riley Sipe's going to head to Long Beach State. We already, Ryan Osborne, if you're out there listening and you are talking to those people at Cal State University Fullerton, well, they're going to get a good one to say the least. So we actually asked Lisa, because Ryan and I looked at each other and said, wait a minute, how long has she been here? And she said she's a sophomore and she'll be going to Long Beach State. So when you look at Long Beach State and you look for talent, which they keep getting every year, they're going to have a really good one in this young lady who's an outfielder. And you look at her slugging percentage, Corey, .957.
You know, it's not bad. She went 2 for 3 yesterday. What was the stat we were looking at earlier today about her stats in the state?
Oh, yeah, you were talking about stolen bases, and
she's tied for 8th with
right.
Tiana Flores in stolen bases this year with 26. Well, she had 27. Yeah, 1 yesterday, so 2 yesterday, so she's at 28. But she's got 12 triples. That's second in the state, behind Amanda Campos, who's got 14. So the state record for the CCCAA is 13. So that means Campos has got the record. Riley Sipe is trying to chase her. She needs one more to be tied for second.
And so we're going to have a little manicure work done out here in the circle. So, and this is the thing, when you're somebody that pitches from the circle, you're used to where you plant your release foot when you come down. And if there's any sort of hole or anything else where you're not comfortable, and what they're actually doing is they're going to put the lanes, which they didn't do, Corey. Normally they will put lanes for the pitcher, and the pitcher has to pitch within that lane. You can't take a step away. You've got to go directly towards home plate, and they didn't have it here in the top of the first. They're going to have it at the bottom of the first. And now you're going to get maybe a discussion, because if I was a coach, well, I would come out and say, wait a minute, how come we're putting these lanes in now, and what's the discussion for the lanes to start now, because the game started with no lanes in the circle.
This is gamesmanship, Mark. This is all it is. It's gamesmanship. So
Well, would you not protest? I would protest. I mean, I would say, wait a minute, there weren't lanes there. Now, why are we putting lanes in for my pitcher?
And again, that's gamesmanship, Mark. And here's the thing: if you're going to put the lanes in, maybe wait till next inning so both teams have it. But hey, you got to go with each. If there was a discussion in the top of the first inning that there was some issues going, that's where you want it, and it just goes from there. In that first game yesterday, Santiago Canyon wins 4-2, 4 runs, 7 hits, and 0 errors. Pasadena, 2 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. Ashlyn Clifford got the win yesterday, improving her record to 99. A complete game, Mark, with no strikeouts, no walks. Helmuth for Pasadena. Austin's a second-team all-conference. She gets the loss. She pitched 2 innings, dropping her record to 11-8. 1 strikeout, 3 earned runs, giving up 5 hits.
And, of course, when you talk about yesterday, the big upset, well, Southwestern, a play-in team, goes against Cypress, and they walk away with a 5-2 victory. Cypress out-hit them. Southwestern's defense was shaky, but Southwestern's pitcher came up really big. Look at some of the games yesterday. Mount Sac beats Cerritos 10-1. San Joaquin Delta up north, they win their game over Porterfield 3-2. You look at Feather River, they got shut out by San Jose. Sacramento City beats Shasta 7-4. Cabrillo loses to Reedley. Pasadena loses to Santiago. Cypress lost their game. Fullerton College ends up winning their game when you looked at it yesterday. So Fullerton College comes away with a victory. Santa Ana loses 8-1. Palomar beats Citrus 4-0. El Camino beats San Diego Mesa 8-0. San Mateo wins their game 7-1. Monterey Peninsula 10-3. Sierra beats Fresno City, and Riverside in a game of who could get the most hits. They win their game over Bakersfield 7-6. Riverside 21 hits, Bakersfield 16 in their loss.
So now we move to the bottom of the first inning. No score here in the CCCAA SoCal Regionals. Super Regionals next week. We'll see where that's going to be done, because if there are upsets, normally they're at Cypress and who else? Mount Sac. This one's about high up. And then we see another couple teams, and that's about it. But this year may be a little bit different.
Yeah, Monterey Peninsula sounds really nice, doesn't it? Take our clubs, go play a little golf, maybe throw in a little softball, all at the expenses of sports@usa.net.
Little delivers low, 1 ball and 1 strike.
If my mic goes off during the game, I know that's a no from our production crew.
I got 1 club.
That's all you need.
Little, the lefty delivers outside corner, strike 2, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Outfield played straight away and deep for Miss Sipe. 7 home runs leads the team. 36 RBI leads the team. 28 stolen bases lead the team. And there's a ground ball underneath the wickets. They're in between the wickets, I should say. And there's a E3. And Sipe is on first base. So Riley Sipe with 28 stolen bases on the season. Always a threat to run. And Tiana Flores steps up to the plate.
And, of course, we look down at the official scorekeeper, and they're just as cold as you. Error on the play.
The one time I give somebody an error and Mark is cold with it.
No, it was an error. I mean, that ball was hit just right. And once again, you need to defensively always go down, especially with this leadoff hitter, because first or second pitch, she's off and running.
Flores batting .384 this season. We're coming into the weekend, I should say. Shows bunt, brings it back, slaps it into left field for a single. So now the Hawks have runners at first and second. No outs for Cosette Zock.
So immediately conversations are happening. And of course, now, Corey, the big question comes up. You've got your number 3 hitter coming up. You've got 2 runners sitting there. Do you drop the bunt? I mean, traditional softball would say drop that bunt, move those runners to second and third, because then you can get a run in with at least an out. So I'm going to put you in the position. Do you have her square, or are you going to let her swing away?
I'm going to let her swing away. I'm going to let her swing away with the idea that you're hitting the ball to right field no matter what. Whether you're taking it out, whatever. You're moving the runners over to third base, at least that lead runner over to third base, and hopefully you'll get another error to leap through, and then you're scoring a run. But I'm having them hitting away.
She's second on the team in RBIs this season with 35 so far. Somebody that doesn't hit, well, do you say she hits for power? She doesn't have a home run. She's got 1 triple. She's got 12 doubles so far this season. So is that a number 3 power hitter, or is that just a solid number 3 hitter?
That's a number 3 hitter.
Okay.
And we've got a stat later on in the ball game for you about the pitching and run situation for Santiago Canyon the last few years. It's an interesting stat. Pitch to Zock is high.
You watch Diaz at third base for the Lancers, creeps in. She's looking for the bunt. She turns around and looks at Medrano and says, hey, you've got third if the ball comes to me.
Foul tip. Zock is late on that.
So interesting, Corey, you have third and short moving defensively on that. First and second are playing back to give up anything. Interesting combination of defense for the Lancers right here in this inning.
As you see, it's fouled back, but it's interesting because Little is pitching outside. They're pitching her to go away.
So she goes high and out, so now you take a breaking ball and come inside, see if you swing over the top of it.
No. High strike, fastball, up high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. No outs in the bottom of the first. Lancers came into this one 26-15 after yesterday's loss. 24-16 are the Hawks. And this one's lifted in the straightaway center field. Back goes deep, and making the catch is Gabby Perez. And Riley Sipe tags from second into third base easily. Did what she had to do.
And you saw Gabby Perez at first hesitate and didn't go back on the ball. I thought for a second she misread that fly to center field.
And now they're going to see if she left early, and Sipe did not on the appeal. They say safe. And you know, Mark, it would have been easier if I had just said fly ball to center field and saying left, right, and then center. But Sipe now on third with 1 out. And Sabrina Rivera out of Mater Dei steps to the plate. And Mark, if that ball had been inside on an inside pitch, you're looking at a 3-run home run. Shows bunt. There goes Flores. She slides into second base for a steal. Mark it number 27 on the season.
So now if you're the Lancers, you're going to bring the corners in defensively. You're going to move your shortstop up about halfway.
Nice pitch by Little, catching the inside part of the plate. Not the black, but the inside part of the plate, because there's no black on the home plate.
That's right. 24.46 inches is the width of a home plate.
No balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out.
It's actually 4.6, 24, 4.6. So, that's right, Ed Ford.
One-two pitch on the way. Don't know if she chased that one or not. what is a beautiful rise pitch by Little. Took a little bit off, and she's been high and with the fastball each time.
I still want to see her break one inside, and I disagree with Corey if he says that would have been a home run. I don't think it was because she drove that ball all the way to dead center. So that last pitch, that was a fat pitch that she got away with.
Off-speed pitch, knuckled to short. Kayla Medrano, home plate, catches Sipe in a rundown, throws back down, and one of those are going to be out. As Flores is out going to third base, she comes from second to third. Sipe is safe sliding into third base.
And here's the argument.
And there's Medrano and Coach Lisa Camargo having words.
No, and here's the argument. She tagged both runners. Both runners stepped off the bag trying to give it up to the other one. And I think the umpire misses the call. I think it's a double play from my position.
And I didn't see him step off the bag, but if it's true, it should be a double play if both runners stepped off the bag and she tagged them both. So Flores gets thrown out. You're scoring 2-6 for the second out. Sipe back at third base. Rivera ends up at second as she kept running on a force play.
Real interesting because, Corey, what Sipe was doing, she looked at the runner behind her and said, we both can't be here, so she figured, I'll give you up the bag. She didn't get there when she gets tagged. The other runner realized, I shouldn't be here, and she steps off the bag. Just because I call out the first person doesn't mean the other runner should be safe.
Yeah, because I thought she tagged Sipe first, but I thought she was on the bag, and then she tagged Flores, who stepped off the bag.
No, I might have missed it, but I really did. I think it was a good challenge from the Lancers to say we had two. Excellent defensive play, though, by the Lancers, especially when you look at most catchers. When you look at Chacon, took her back to third base, knew she had at least one out. Heads-up play by Chacon.
So Little with 2 outs and 2 on. Blows one right by Danielle Stallings. A little bit of pepper on that one. Oh, one pitch is high.
And if you're a Lancer infielder here, the one thing you need to do, the ball, because we've already seen one error in this inning, if it's hit at you, get the body in front. Make sure you knock it down. You've got the pitcher up there. If she hits it back at you, it's going to be an easy play to get her.
This one's flared into right field, and that's going to be a base hit scoring side. Coming around second is Rivera. She touches with her hand. And it is now 2-0 Santiago.
The old adage, I'd rather be lucky than good. Well, every once in a while you get a break. And you get a break in the game of softball by swinging at the ball. Can't sit there and stare at it.
And this will bring up Behar, excuse me. Viviana fouls one out. Oh, one pitch. Again, fouled back for Behar. Behar on the season, 3.33 is her batting average with 13 RBI. You know, Stallings, that was her 13th RBI, 12th and 13th, and she helps herself out. Maybe she'll be more relaxed in the circle now. Rolls one in there for a ball.
Well, the thing is, and for those of you at home watching with us here on sports@usa.net, or even if you're at the field and you think, gee, I mean, why didn't Ruiz lay out? It's one of those plays where you actually think you can get underneath the ball. And by the time you don't, as we get a pass ball on that one, Corey, and once again, another running and scoring position for Santiago here in the first inning. Well, you've played defensively. You've played this game of softball. That indecision where you think, should I lay out? But you think you can catch it.
On that one, I don't know if you can lay out on that one. At
Really?
the angle she was running, I don't think you can lay out because you don't have a good judge on that ball. You just hopefully you leap a little and get a glove on it. It was just out of reach. And there's another base hit into right field. Coming up firing is Nunez, and in safely is Stalling, heading to second base. Sliding in is Vehar with a double RBI. So you see that pass ball be big as it advanced Stallings to second base, allowed her to score. Oli Nunez came up firing, just a little off the mark.
Well, and that's one of the things that we look at the game defensively, and everybody looks at infielders, but one of the things that are forgotten in the game of softball and the other game that people play with a bat and a ball is the accuracy and the strength of outfielders' arms. And I mean, why do you send somebody home? You understand defensively that the throw's probably not going to be where you think it should be, and so you send your runner home. And again, give it to Lisa over at third base, being daring enough to try and get that additional run for Santiago.
Nicole Garcia takes the first pitch outside. Vivian Little stressing or overthrowing a little on that first pitch. 3 runs, 3 hits, 1 error. Thus far in the bottom of the first inning, score is 3-0. You got 3 hits, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Garcia, who's the first base person. Check swing. 231. But you like the 310 on base percentage mark. 9 strikeouts, 5 walks. 7 RBI and 2 doubles this season. These stats are all coming into this weekend. Didn't get a hit yesterday. And she strikes out there looking to end the inning. So with 3 runs on 3 hits, there is 1 error, 1 left on base. At the end of 1 full inning of play, Santiago Canyon 3, Pasadena City nothing. You are listening to the CCCAA SoCal Regionals on SportsNetUSA.net. Corey Neyland, Mark Pavlovich, Gabby Neyland, Ed Ford, Noah Alvarez is your crew here in beautiful orange. As orange as you can get in SoCal. Santiago Canyon is the campus. 2016 champs in the California Community College Athletic Association. Lisa Camargo, Mark, has been here since 2007. And in that time, she's been all right.
She's done well. She's done well. But if we're giving a little love, can I just sort of sidetrack as we're giving a little love? Because somebody that we've known for a lot of years hasn't been getting a lot of love. And does she get a lot of support from her college? No. And that's Marion over at Fullerton College. People know her as Speedy. But that's Marion Mendoza.
Let's get into that a little bit later. Let's get into that a little bit later.
Oh, come on, man. I got to give her love now because she doesn't get any love from her community college.
You know what? 3rd inning.
Okay.
3rd inning. We're going to talk about this Fullerton College OEC, SCC, and we'll get into that. But the love right now for Lisa Camargo and Monica Tantlinger.
You asked her dad. You better get it right.
Monica Tantlinger in her 6th season is doing well also. 2016 championship for Lisa. 2016 OEC Female Sports Coach of the Year. OEC champs in 2014. Monica over at Pasadena City, 131, 108, and 1. 5 straight 20-win seasons. And this is her 3rd consecutive playoff run. And a leadoff batter for PCC is Nanez. I hope I don't have a problem with that all game. Nanez.
What's the coach's last name for Pasadena?
Tantlinger.
Thank you.
Nanez fouls it off of her foot.
And Corey, when you think about the 5 consecutive seasons of 20 wins or more, for this Pasadena program, it has really grown. The tutelage that she has shown this team since she's taken over as head coach has been fantastic.
Wings it short, eats up Alyssa Baltiera. That second hop was just simply evil. And that's going to be E6, allowing Nanez to get the first base, and that'll bring up Gabby Perez, the center fielder. Gabby Perez batting .283 with 12 RBI and 1 home run.
Bishop's scorekeeper marked it down as a hit. But I'm sort of like Corey, but it did take a wicked hop, Corey. But again,
so officially we'll give her the single. No balls, 1 strike to Perez.
they did, but I'm with you, Corey. I mean, yeah, it ate her up, but again, it was one of those things where you just got to be quick and ready, being an infielder.
Perez showed bunt. Garcia and Zoc way in at first and third. But yeah, that should have been, instead of that taking that second bounce, should have got it and charged it before that. This one's in the center field. Diving is Sipe, and she can't come up with it. Throws a second, but not in time. And that'll be the second consecutive single for Pasadena. Excuse me, that was Chacon who had that single. Now Gabby Perez comes up to bat.
And give to Nanez, she starts then stops. She knew she could get back to first if it's caught because that wouldn't be a close play there. But once the ball hit the turf, she ended up taking off. So now Pasadena has an opportunity. And all you want to do, Corey, is get at least one run in this second inning and feel like you're back in the game.
So excuse me, that was Jenny Chacon, the catcher, who got the base hit. Now Gabby Perez steps up. She's swinging for the fences as well. And Mark, here's the thing. You got to lay it down.
You look at Perez batting .283 this season. She only has 12 RBI. She does have 1 home run, but this I just find it amazing that people can hit the ball out of this ballpark.
Beautiful bunt down left. Zoc comes up, only plays at first. And she is out at first. 5-4 if you're scoring at home.
Now, what they're going to do is they're going to call, let's see if they call interference on the runner who drops the bunt. She ran inside the lane. If she does, you put the runners back at first and second.
I don't think you can. I think she was running down there all the way.
But you're supposed to run in the outside, the alley, not inside.
And the problem with her bunt is she laid the bunt down, Mark, and as she was moving, she never got a chance to come back out. Footwork on the bunt was too inside, and that's why she was down the middle and on the inside of the lane.
Watch, here comes the call. They're going to discuss it. And that's what he's exactly right now. The president is telling her she veered to the inside.
See, I don't think she veered to the inside. I thought she was just inside all the way down the line. But, hey, we'll see. And they're going to bring both runners back, Mark.
Yeah, if that is the call, both runners go back to where they were. Corey disagrees with the call of the umpire if that's the call that's made.
So we're sitting here, 3 runs for Santiago, no runs for Pasadena City. Mark, there's been a lot of action, and we're only in the top of the second inning.
I tell you what. Now, here's once again, Corey, we always talk about referees interfering too much in basketball. There's already been a couple calls here where the umpires have decided to get involved. Not a manager walking up to him saying, shouldn't that call be made? Lisa didn't run out and say, hey, that call should be made.
Yeah, she did.
No, they both talked. She did? You saw her go out there and make a signal? Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
Yeah, and if it was basketball, this would be a makeup call for earlier. And they say, you know what, we're going to keep runners at second and third, and we're going to keep going.
Yeah, they did, the Lancer coaches are not coming out there, and you want to say the president, and the president's trying to explain his position coming down there. And this, again, realize when you drop a ball down for a runner going to first, you should run to the outside of the line, not in the inside, for 2 reasons. You can't distract the throw by doing it, plus you cannot distract the defensive player. What they're calling, too, is that she steps on the runner who is reaching over. Here comes the decision. We're going to see it right now.
So what they're going to do is they're going to eject Gabby Perez out of the game.
And they're doing that because they're saying that she tried to hurt the player.
Yeah.
Is why she's ejected. The play shouldn't stand then, though.
Well, I think they're going to say the player's ejected, the play's going to stand, but the player's ejected. And they're going to keep runners at second and third. And, Mark, we've got contention in the stands as well.
Well, and here's the thing.
I'm sorry, that word is contentiosity.
Didn't you say that Lisa and Medrano had words with each other on one play?
Yeah.
So that's why we're at a delay right now. What happened, the bunt gets laid down. You have the third base person come down from Santiago, make the throw. The runner runs inside the line and almost picks off the player covering first. Now, I thought it was going to be because she came down the line, they were going to call her out. Now, Corey's saying they threw her out of the game because of possible trying to injure the player.
Well, she did throw her arms up, Mark.
So that's where we're at right now. Everybody's getting ready. We're going to see where the runners, Corey, I'm still saying the runners go back to first and second if that's the call. That's going to be interesting. They're going to leave the runners there. So what they're going to say is that the bunt would count, but
you know what they're going to say? Loose ball foul, dead ball foul.
Technical, double technical.
Teed him up, flagrant foul, flagrant 2, kicked her out the game.
Tough call. Do you agree with it, though?
If what they saw was her purposely running into the player and then lifting her arms trying to take her out, yeah, I agree.
And it was immediately called by the home plate umpire,
yeah,
who is up the line, basically has the call on the initial play. So the home plate umpire gets the initial call on that play. Now, I'm not sure you can protest playoff games, can you?
I think you can protest anything, Mark.
Okay. So we've slowed down in this game drastically because of a couple interesting calls so far here. You love the fans. It's almost like what Corey and I always talk about in all games, let people play the game. So we'll see what happens. It's still, Corey, there's more discussion going on. And, this is the one time I'd like to wish that Ed Ford would have had headsets on, because I'd ask Ed what sort of view he had from the outfield, if that might have been a call that he would have made on that play. And of course, Ed's not mic'd up today, so I can't hear what Ed might have seen with the cameras out there in the outfield. But the runners are going to stay at third and second base. We get an ejection on the play, and we'll sort of move on and see what's going on in this game. Now, once again, Corey, this is where you need to get at least that one run if you're the Lancers out there.
Yeah. After all the drama, you need one.
Yeah.
Elise Allen now steps in, the lefty, deep in the box, takes it low and outside. So to reset in the outfield, right to left, Diker, Sipe, and Flores for Santiago. Zoc, Baltierra, Pasillas, and Garcia left to right in the infield. Stallings in the circle, Rivera behind the plate. And that is a ball, was outside and high. 2 balls, no strikes.
But I don't mind if I walk this batter. If I'm Santiago, I'll load the bases.
I don't know. Feblis was 2 for 3 yesterday. I don't want to walk her. Foul back. Allen's batting .306. Feblis 254 on the season. But again, she was 2 for 3 yesterday. You don't want a hot hitter coming up with the bases loaded.
Santiago brings the corners in.
This one's in the left field. Tagging. No, strong. And And they're going to say either way, it's an illegal batted ball by home plate Dave George. That's what he says. As Allen starts deep in the box, she runs forward, and by the time she made a connection, was out of the batter's box. So now there's 2 outs with runners at second and third. Nanez at second, at third. Chacon at second. Outside corner for a strike.
And this is a Lancer team that's had a couple of opportunities, and so far they have squandered those opportunities against this Santiago team.
Outside, 1-1. Febles also out of Birmingham Charter High School. That's an Encino, Mark.
That's by the Czech Republic?
No, that's Torrance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second inning, 2 outs. This was just fouled and flared out. Check swing into the Hawks dugout. And it looks like it caught one of the coaches in the head. Let's hope she's okay. In the back of the head.
So you look at Febles batting .254, an on-base percentage of .367, only a slugging percentage of .254 when you look at her. And her walk to strikeout ratio, dead even, 11 walks, 11 strikeouts.
Bounces one again over to first, and that's high, and another error by Baltiera, and that's going to score 2 runs. And safe at second is Febles. And Mark, that's a 2 unearned run throwing error.
Corey Neyland, we started this game off that I said to you that .936 fielding percentage comes back to bite you in games. And once again, it's one of those things that, I know people say I'm extremely critical in softball about ERAs and everything else, but I tell you what, you need to be a .970 fielding team, especially when you look at your infield. Unless you have some shortstop that ranges behind second and makes ridiculous plays, you got to be over .950 to say the least.
Yeah, Baltiera, 2 errors this inning, causes both of those runs. There's still 2 outs, so it's 3-2. Hawks with the lead. The runner at second is Febles. And Mark, Santiago likes to run on the season 102 stolen bases. That's 5th in the state. But Pasadena is 4th with 119. Another line shot. And you can tell by the scowl. The deep scowl on the face of Samantha Diaz. She wants to hit one out of the park.
Well, I tell you what, if you're the Lancer fan, you're going, hey, we finally got a break that we deserve.
And that's outside, just outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And if you're that Lancer fan that kept yelling, just let the girls play, he's turning around saying to everybody, see, this is what happens. This is what evens out. Sounds like Corey Neyland. Ball don't lie.
That's high. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Stallings try to go with the rise pitch.
Nothing like watching a batter flinch like, oh man, I want to hit that.
And there's a 3rd straight ball. And Stallings, she didn't like that pitch, Mark.
You know what? Her and her battery mate thought they had a 3rd called strike.
It looked at the numbers, but they just must have said above the numbers. So 3-2, 2 outs, 2nd inning. Top of the 2nd. 3-2 is your score. This one's popped up. As you see, it's foul. So that was a staying alive. John Travolta for us old folks trying to hit type of swing.
Well, this is what you don't want to get up there and do too much. You get a single, there's a good chance you tie this game up. Outfield in for the Hawks.
No home runs on the season for Diaz. And she takes that one for strike 3.
Whoa. I thought that was kicking up dust.
So there's another K looking. But not before the damage is done. 2 runs on 2 hits 2 errors and 1 left on base. At the end of 1.5, Santiago 3, Pasadena 2. It's the CCCAA SoCal playoffs. Corey Neyland and Mark Pavlovich here at Santiago Canyon College. And so with Gabby Perez ejected, we'll see who's going to play center field now for the Lancers. Vivian Little still in the circle. That was a long top half of the second.
Yeah, and the thing is, Lancers got what they needed. They needed a shot in the arm. If they wouldn't have scored there where they had an opportunity, you might have said, if you're a fan of this, well, they're now in trouble.
But this is what they've done all season long. They've scrapped, and they actually made the strong 16 one time on SportsNetUSA.net, the best rankings and what should be the official rankings of California Community College softball.
Well, Corey, as we look at some scores today already, they're in the top of the 7th at Mount Sac, and it's Cerritos 8, Mount Sac 4. So it looks like they might be playing 3 games.
What inning is that?
It's the top of the 7th is what it's reported as.
Wow.
Already in that game. Feather River, top of the 3rd, they're down by 5 to San Jose. Sacramento City College, they're looking to win 2 out of 3. They're up on Shasta in the bottom of the 2nd, 3-0 so far. Cypress 3, Southwestern 0 going into the 5th inning. Antelope Valley, they're up over Santa Ana, 2-0 so far in their game. Fullerton College, team we're going to talk about a little later, bottom of the 3rd. The Hornets are up over College of the Canyons, 4-0 in their game. And so far, those are some of the other scores from around these softball playoffs. So keep an eye on all of them. Cypress trying to keep themselves alive. Mount Sac all of a sudden saying, oh no, we might have to play 2 today. We'll see what happens, what goes on in this game. We'll keep you updated on some of the other scores going on in the playoffs, just like we did then.
So we've got some changes for you, Mark. We'll get to those in just a moment, as leading off over their bottom half of the second is Baltiera, who had those 2 errors in the top half, followed by Pasillas, and back to the top of the order with Sipe. So in right field now is Samantha Diaz. Center field now is Oli Nanez. Third base will be Valley Febles, who comes over from first. That ball is low, 2 balls and no strikes. And at first base now, number 13 you see is Amanda Flores. And Mark, what do you think of that 3rd strike called on Diaz?
I tell you, I thought it was kick and chalk myself. I thought it was a low call.
Baltiera's late swings.
Doesn't it feel like it's the 5th inning? It's only the bottom of the 2nd. I know that's why when you looked at me and I said the Mount Sac game was in the 7th inning, Corey looks at me and goes, no, but we're only in the 2nd.
And that game did start earlier. Ground ball, Madrano. And she can't come up with it. And Baltiera safely reaches first base.
And
that's going to go down as an error.
Yeah. And it goes down as an error. And once again, when you're playing third base for a team, as Febles is, you have to realize what your range is over there. Because what happens to Madrano, she stops on the play and then realizes she's got to make the play.
But I think that's all Madrano, Mark.
Okay.
Because Madrano still got the glove on it. She was still in good position to make the play. She just thought she had to rush it. And there goes Baltiera on another wild pitch. So Amanda Pasillas, your second base person, who hits .362 now with 4 RBI and 1 runner in scoring position.
And once again, if you're Chacon behind the plate, you need to move those feet, not just expect the glove to grab the ball.
He tries to lay one down. Foul ball.
And fortunately, that is foul, because what does Chacon do again, Corey? She picks it up. She's going to swipe the pickup. If that's a fair ball, she just threw it over her right shoulder, and you have runners at second and third.
Yeah, and that's where you got to move your feet and come out quickly, because you got to bare hand that one, pick it up safely, and then throw it down. Amanda Pasillas Lanky left-hander squares a bunt again, and this one comes out, throws down to third. That's an out. And Baltiera, not the swiftest of foot, sees that ball bounce, and Chacon makes up for the pass ball.
Yeah, and Chacon doesn't give up on the play and makes a really nice throw that all you have to do is drop the glove on the runner.
So the error doesn't hurt him. Turns and faces, strike on the outside corner. 2 balls, 2 strikes now with 1 out. Amanda Pasillas rearranges her game plan in the box. Late hit. And after this at-bat, Mark, then we're going to get into the love fest.
Okay. Hey, I really do have to ask you something. I look at Amanda's left arm, and it's gold there, Corey. I mean, is that tape?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
This one's just flared back. She's just trying to stay alive, Mark.
So here again, if that's actual tape, and I'm the Lancers coach, because it reflects light, I go over and tell him she needs to take that off.
Maybe it's medical. Could be a tattoo.
That's why I asked you.
This one's popped up. Medrano underneath. Calmly makes the second out. And now we're back to the top of the order with Riley Sipe.
Sipe got on the first time with an error and then used her speed, as she always does. Future. Well, I'm not sure. What are they now? The Stingrays? Or are they, since they're changing the name at Long Beach?
I thought they were just changing their mascot.
Yeah, but they'd be
The
Long Beach Stingrays, or they could be the Beach.
Oh.
They're actually changing the name.
They could still be the 49ers,
No,
just change the mascot.
No, they're changing everything.
I know. Just change the mascot. Keep the name. That's low.
Now they're a
2
school
balls
of,
and no strikes.
they're a school of higher education.
Sipe is an all-state performer. She takes the bowling ball for ball number 3. And here's a person you don't want to pitch to. You're only down 1 run, 3-2. It's only the second inning. You might want to walk Sipe. Don't try to chest her.
No, I wouldn't walk her. You walk her, she's standing at second base.
And there's one deep, straight away, center field. And that's gone. Riley Sipe. They pitched to her, and she said, I like him. What the kids say? Smack 'em.
Wow. Mr. Neyland is so proud of himself over here.
Solo home run. Score is now 4-2. Hawks. And for Sipe, that is her 8th home run, her 37th RBI. Now it's 4-2, Vivian Little. Got to shake that one off, Mark, because that wasn't the best pitch. It was still on the outside part of the plate. You didn't come actually to her, but you still kept it in the strike zone. And with Sipe, who stands about 5'10", she has a long range to cover the whole 24.2468 inches or whatever it is to hit it out.
I tell you what, the ball flies very well in this ballpark.
And Flores takes a strike. No balls in 1 strike. I think they said the dimensions were 210 across.
Yeah.
So that was deep in the trees. 1 ball and 1 strike now. Don't forget, this is SportsNetUSA.net is where you're watching this regional action. And also that's fouled. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Friday Night Mics on SportsNetUSA.net, where some guys talk about some stuff.
Yeah, talk about changing mascots. I mean, that was our conversation on Friday Night Mics. You can always go back and see the replays on that. and see what's going on. Had a conversation last night about what you may do. Of course, the old guy on that one, he's always the one carrying the mantle. Bringing the pressure on those young minds, and an occasional feeble mind will say something.
Yeah, it's good times.
It is good times. We have a really good time on that show. Hector, Noah, Ryan, Corey, myself.
2 of the 3 won't be there. 2 of the 5 won't be there this week, tomorrow. That's low. So 3 balls and 1 strike. Little concentration off for Little.
What, we're going to be missing Hector and Noah? Don't be calling me, Ryan.
Vivian delivers into this line, and that's going to be a base hit. Stretched into a double. Mark, I'm going to give her a double.
Yeah, I'll let you get away with that call. I think it's misplayed in left field. I don't think you lay out for the ball. I think you run through that line drive and catch it off your hip.
Well, you talk about a ball that was misplayed. That was misplayed because there's no reason the left fielder, Velasquez, should have had to dive for that ball. She was already playing over there, and she hesitated just for a second, and that's why she had to dive at the end.
Yeah, and we're not just picking on softball players. We see it in so many forms of either softball or baseball that outfielders take the wrong position on the ball. They don't run through the ball the way we were taught in the old days, that you run through the ball and catch the ball while you're running through it, that you break back on a ball instead of standing there and watch it. We saw a ball misjudged in center field. You break back if you're not sure where the ball's being hit. It's much easier to come in on a ball than it is to backpedal on the ball. Some of the basic fundamentals of both games that we follow, that we like. We talk basketball. The fundamentals of basketball have gone away. And I think the fundamentals of softball and baseball have deteriorated through the years.
And the first pitch delivered is high to Zock. Her first time at bat flew out to center field. So with Flores standing at second, with 26 stolen bases on the season. Right-hander up. Lines one into center field. Up comes Nunez. The throw home, and she's safe. Ball gets past Chacon, and advancing to second base is Zock with an RBI single. So just like that, 5-2. SCC with the lead after 2 runs in the top half of this inning by PCC. Got him within 1, but that solo home run by Sipe really ignited the Hawks' bats.
Well, and that's what you want to do when you want to win championships. If somebody scores a run, you need to answer them in the bottom of your inning.
And another line drive up the middle, and here comes Zock. And they hold her, but advancing to second base. On another single, the 3rd straight hit, make it the 4th straight hit.
And Corey, all these hits and runs are coming with 2 outs in the inning.
And there's another meeting in the circle. And Little has really got to shake this off. 7-3 on the season, 59 innings pitched this year. Her earned run average is .202. Here's where she's got to buckle down and get the out as Danielle Stallings lines one into left field. That's going to store 1. Stallings heads to second on another RBI single. And Mark, it might look like a change to bring someone else in the circle. So Stallings with another RBI. That's her 3rd of today, 3 of the 6. She's helping her cause. And in the circle, we're going to have someone else, Austin Helmuth, will take over for Vivian Little.
So Little, when you look at what she's done, Corey, she just couldn't find the space here with 2 outs. If she can get away with that one pitch, of course, you say walk the person who hits the home run, but even when you say that, she couldn't get anybody that followed her out. So, I mean, the walking aspect works if you get the next person out, but you give up the home run and you still can't shut the door.
But there's a difference in that aspect. If you walk her and she's standing on first base, there's that momentum is not there that they picked up with that home run. There's a difference. When she hit that home run, that flipped the switch, lit a fuse, whatever cliche you want to use, on the Hawks' bats. If you walk her, then they're still trying to struggle and get runs and get hits.
See, and I disagree. If the person who's supposed to hit the home run hits the home run, I've got no problem with that. It's the other people that shouldn't be doing the damage that I allow them to do after.
But that person wasn't supposed to hit the home run because they weren't supposed to see a pitch that they liked and could get to.
Lighting the sparkler and thinking the party's on because the right person lit
and
the sparkler.
And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
Exactly what happened. Viviana Vejar, RBI single in the first. We're sitting at 6-2 in the bottom of the second with 2 outs.
There's some of us here on SportsNetUSA.net are still waiting for our cake then.
What cake?
The one we lit all the candles on.
Some of us might pass out for trying to blow out all them candles on that cake, so some of us are helping people keep their breath.
And the other thing is keeping those pant sizes down too.
And there's in the left field, that's going to score one. Velasquez comes up throwing, cut off at third. So Mark with 2 outs. There have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight hits. 4 runs to go with it.
And
10 hits overall.
And Corey, once again, when you get into playoffs, and I mean you're battling to stay in the playoffs. You know, you really need to find that way to get out of everything.
Off-speed pitch to Garcia is low.
Gabby Neyland getting a suntan behind us. Garcia struck out her last time up. Helmuth brings it home. Just off the inside part of the plate. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. Here in this second inning, the bottom of the second.
Garcia takes another one low. So now it's 3-0. And
of course, you get into that uncomfortable, run rule not far away.
7-2 is your score. Helmuth takes high. Bases are loaded. So Vejar advances to second, Garcia at first. And the player who started the inning is now up to bat, Baltiera.
So I think we're going to get a change here. We do.
So we've got Dana Demo. Demo out of Woodbridge High School, utility player. The freshman steps in.
Batting .500 this season. He's got 9 hits so far. Scored 3 runs.
And takes that first pitch high.
She's played in 17 games. She's had 18 at-bats, and she gets 9 hits.
It's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
And she takes that one down the pipe, 1-1. With off-speed pitch, and Velasquez is there for the third out. But not before a whole lot of damage is done. Let's see. 4 runs on 6 hits. Or did you have 7? Yeah.
That's 6.
6 hits, and there were no errors. Well, actually, there was 1 error, and 3 left on base. And at the end of 2, only 2 full innings, Santiago Canyon 7, Pasadena City 2. This is the CCCAA SoCal Regional Playoffs on SportsNetUSA.net.
I was going to say, are we going to turn the lights on after 2 innings? We'll see what happens here.
And Mark, you had a love fest going. You wanted to talk about some coaches. You wanted to talk about some not rankings, but all conference teams.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to look at in a second. I just wanted to see if I could get an update about what might be going on out there.
Hey guys, with an update.
There we go.
Ed Ford and Noah Alvarez were out here in right field running the controls, and we have an upset. That's a final. It's going to go to 3 games. Cerritos Falcons come back and beat Mount Sac in Mount Sac today by a score of 8-4. Mounties commit 2 errors, so that's kind of a surprise.
Yeah, that's uncharacteristic, Ed, of Mount Sac. They've been playing clean baseball all season long, and actually, if you notice, 2 of those losses that they've had of their 5 this season, they did commit at least 2 errors in 2 of those losses, and this one now.
And some other games going on. It looks like, no offense, but looks like Feather River will be taking the long bus ride home with nothing. In the 4th, it's San Jose 7 and Feather River nothing. And that is a game at San Jose. Sac City leading Shasta in the bottom of the 2nd, 3-0. Reedley and Cabrillo, no score in that game last night with Reedley and Cabrillo. Went something like 11 innings, was really long. They had a long delay because of a player injury. So we'll see how that one works out. Right now in Cypress, top of the 6th, it's the Chargers 6, Southwestern 0. So it doesn't look like Brad Pickler is ready to surrender. Antelope Valley beating up on Santa Ana again in the 4th, 5-0. It's 5-0 Fullerton over Canyons in the 4th, and we'll go back to you guys now.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks, Noah, for that. I mean, Mount Sac losing, that is really, truly an upset. Mount Sac losing today and Cypress losing yesterday.
I tell you what, the Coach of the Year's team isn't losing it at all, as Fullerton is on their way to win back-to-back games. Marion Mendoza, along with Crystal, co-coaches of the year at Fullerton College.
Caleb Medrano swings and fouls one back. No balls and 2 strikes. No changes in the field for the Hawks. Zach Bautiera, Pasillas and Garcia left to right on the infield. Flores, Sipe, and Diker left to right in the outfield. Rivera behind the plate. Danielle Stallings in the circle. Right-hander delivers, foul tipped back. And Ed, if you're still with us, quick question about that San Jose team. They were a surprise earlier in the season, but they seem to have gotten stronger and better as the season has gone on. If you can hear me, let us know anytime.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, San Jose has gotten strong, but, they're not really a surprise team because they had a good squad last year. So they just built on what they did last year. And if you look back, San Jose has been in the regionals. They just had sort of an absence there, but they're back in there, and they're doing it. They're really one of the better teams in California.
Yeah, and if there was a strong 16, they'd still probably be in the top 5. And there's a hit by pitch. Medrano's going to take first, but they are a top 5 team in the state.
Yes, and in this game, the Hawks have a lead here, but they have to be very careful because, you get sloppy, you start making errors and things like that, hitting batters, and Pasadena's going to get right back in this game.
And this will bring up Ruiz, who struck out looking in her first attempt, her first at-bat in the first inning. With no outs. She shows bunt, brings it back, and takes a strike.
Here's my question to Ed Ford. Ed, I really have to ask you, Southwestern, the play-in team against Cypress, did you even think that series would go 3 games?
Well, no, but in defense of In defense of Southwestern, I think they kind of got a raw deal because they had to be moved down because of, the conflicts if you can't have people in the same conference playing each other, in the opening rounds. Well, they were seated ahead of Citrus, so by moving them down, they had to go into the play-in round. I don't really think that's fair. I'm sorry.
No.
I think they could have done something else.
I agree with you. That is not fair at all. And what they should have done is just let the players from the same conference play in the playoffs, because they're a much better team than Citrus, much better team than OCC. Or OCC was a playing game, but I thought they were a team that possibly could have been in the Santiago section. There's a high fly ball to left field deep at the warning track. Making the catch is Flores. Medrano stays in first. Because if you look at it, Ed, consistently, yeah, you're going to have Santiago Canyon as favorable, but Southwestern probably had a better season.
Yeah, I would have, I don't know if I would have ranked Southwestern ahead of Santiago, but I certainly would have ranked them ahead of Citrus by a couple spots. So, and I did. I would have had Citrus in the play-in round. Sorry.
Yeah.
They would maybe been the 15th team.
And here's the first pitch on the way to Velasquez, who had a rough bottom of the second inning mark, and she takes that first pitch, ball one.
But as Elisa was saying, and I heard it from another coach, I had a chance to talk with another coach. We'll talk about that a little later on. But, hey, they just plug in the numbers, and what comes out is what comes out.
Yeah, so Mark would say that's truly just.
That's wrong. It's just wrong. I
don't agree with the RPI either, Mark.
Yeah, good. I know you and I have discussed that too many times. Ed, I think the game that's not surprising to me, though, is Cerritos. I mean, look who you've got over that runs that Cerritos team. You look at Cody.
Wait, you said that's not surprising?
To me, no. I figured Cody'd get at least one.
No, that's a bigger surprise than Southwestern beating Cypress.
Throw
down to first base. Medrano back in time.
I figured she'd get at least one.
I didn't think she'd get any.
I don't know.
No, Cerritos did not have the best season this year. And I just thought Mount Sac would throw out Brianna Wheeler and whoever else and get two straight.
No, but at the end, in the last 10 games, Cerritos came on. They played well to get them into the playoffs.
Baltierra throws another high throw and another error by Baltierra. And Medrano advances to third base. That's the second throwing error by Baltierra.
Wow. I guess you need her bat in the lineup because you may want to. You can't squander away a lead like this with a bunch of routine balls that should be easy outs, and we've seen that how many times now? 3 times for Santiago? That's
Corey,
ridiculous.
Corey, Ed, you field that ball as an infielder. If you field it on your off foot, everybody should know what it's like to throw on an off foot. And if you're not comfortable throwing on an off foot, you basically plant your foot and slide and try and throw the ball the proper way. Here's somebody who can't throw on the off foot. We've seen it twice today, and once again takes the ball, takes that extra step, which is the off foot, and tries to float it to first base. And there is no way you can get somebody out floating the ball over to first base.
So that brings up Oli Nanez, who singled in the second, scored a run, takes that pitch inside, and Velasquez does not look like she's headed to second base to try to put 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out.
And you keep telling me this is a team that likes to run.
They do. They were 3rd in the state. Goes up high and foul tips it.
You're down by 5. I want to throw it at both you and Ed. You're down by 5. Time's running out on you, man.
I think you hit and run. I don't think you straight up steal with Velasquez. The bottom half, after this, then if they get on base, you run. Foul down the left field line. So good at bat by Nanez. Nanez on the season with .324, only 1 home run, 20 RBI. Good eye at the plate. And that's outside. Nice frame, nice pitch by Rivera. Didn't get the call. 2 balls, 2 strikes as it was outside.
You know, when we get In between innings, I hope Ed Ford's still with us because he knows more about the Northern California teams than anybody here on sports at USA.net.
And a little bit early is Nanez, and that's another foul ball, and that's longer. So, Mark, she gets another inside pitch or anything close on the inside half, and it's if it's off speed. I think she's got the timing down for a base hit.
Well, and I think if you're the Lancers too, the thing is you've got to take that extra base. You've got to take that chance. You're losing by 5. You lost yesterday.
And a rise pitch, 3 balls and 2 strikes. And it's interesting to see Stallings throw the rise pitch.
That was a change of rise pitch, man. She went fishing to say, look what I'm throwing you.
Yeah, I was going to say, because a rise pitch, you usually see those fastball, but it was a riser, and she took a lot off it. And ball 4, below the knees. Now the bases are loaded. And you've got a hot hitter coming up to plate. Singled and scored a run is Jenny Chacon.
And if you're Chacon, okay, and I'm going to throw it back to Corey, too. Corey, we've talked about batters getting over anxious. You've always liked that 2-1 count if you're better. If you're Chacon, do you let that first pitch go by?
Yes, as Leilani Montanez pinch running at second base out of Monrovia. Yes, I let the first pitch go by.
Okay. See if Chacon is as patient as Corey Neyland is getting food when we go out to get something to eat.
They've been patient all season long.
Outfield steps in a little, Corey. If you look at them, if you could take one up the alley right now, you're going to get at least 2, maybe 3 runs if you're the Lancers.
And in the dirt, 1 ball, no strikes. Chacon yesterday had an RBI. She was 1 for 3. Today she has a single and a run. And there's a strike. There's that 1 pitch you take. Now you're ready. I don't square up. I don't fake like I'm squaring up. You got a solid hitter at bat. And if I'm Chacon, I'm a freshman. I'm saying, you know, let's lead this team. Let's get a couple here. And she lifts one in the left field. That's going to be caught. Tagging up from third. Throw home. Good throw by Flores. And that was a better pitch by Stallings. Because, Mark, you talk about the change of speed Stallings has on her pitches. No one's getting comfortable at the plate. And you can tell Chacon was waiting for that pitch. And it was down the plate. But she took a little bit off it. It wasn't a knuckleball. It wasn't a rise pitch. That's what you call a changeup. And she was just ahead of it to not get good, what do they call those, aluminum hybrid?
Couldn't get any fiber on it, huh?
Couldn't get that fiber. 2 outs, top of the 3rd inning, 7-2. The Hawks have the lead.
And again, the Lancers have runners on, Corey, and can't get that huge hit that they need in this game.
Amanda Flores takes the strike, 1-1.
Remember, their runs come in because of errors. Yet they had runners in scoring position. Once again, somebody hits the ball well, but not well enough.
And Flores is batting for Gabby Perez, who has in the 2nd inning, or was that the 1st inning? It was a long time ago, got kicked out of the game. No, that was the 2nd inning. She gets kicked out and ejected. 2 balls and 1 strikes, 2 outs.
And you always talk about softball, good from the circle, excellent defense, but that last phrase, timely hitting.
Ryan Osborne checking in. Hope you're doing well, Ryan. And that's a ball.
Yeah.
But as you recall, that was a strike ending an inning, yet last inning, in their top half of the 2nd, to Diaz.
Yes. Yes. The president always, every once in a while, vetoes the wrong bill.
We missed you, Ryan Osborne, setting up today. Even had a donut for you.
And the problem is, Ryan, Corey ate it.
problem is I am going to eat it because it was expensive. And even if it's a day old, I'm still going to eat it. 3 balls, 1 strike. Flores at bat. And what do you say? Hitters count. Don't be shy. Beautiful pitch by Danielle Stallings. Inside corner. You have no chance to extend. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Runners will be moving.
Same pitch. Another strikeout looking. Danielle Stallings buckled down. So with the bases loaded, no runs, no hits, 1 error, 3 left on. So at the end of 2.5, 7-2, Santiago Canyon.
Hey, Ed Ford, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Ed, let's talk a little because we cover so much of the southern section of softball. But when you look at the northern section, I mean, who should be the favorite coming out of the northern section? And I know you follow Northern Community College softball much more than Corey and I do. So I'm going to go to you and ask you who you think ought to come out of those playoffs with an opportunity to be sitting at the finals when the last 2 teams play.
Well, the 4 teams out of the north would probably be San Mateo. I'd put San Jose in there also. Then it gets kind of tough. I like Reedley, and I think Reedley has the potential right now. They're the number 9 officially in the Triple C AA, but I think they should have been the 8th seed. Sac City, a little surprising, and they're leading 3-1 in the bottom of the second. So those would be my teams. Monterey Peninsula also has a shot. But the real favorite, I would say, is San Mateo. Now, can they close the deal when they get in the state tournament and win it finally? I don't know about that. But if you look at their pitching, they have that sub 1.50 ERA. They score a lot of runs. They have good defense. So they have everything that any of the other teams have. They should be able to do things.
I agree with that. San Mateo is tough. Emily McAdams is one of those pitchers you said, Ed, with that sub-1 ERA, and she's just dominant up there. And I like San Jose. Because College of San Mateo has problems when they get to the state and get to the finals, I'm thinking San Jose's got a chance, and I still like San Joaquin Delta. Macias lays down a beautiful bunt, and she's going to be safe.
Corey? Sorry to interrupt your play. Yes, I forgot about San Joaquin Delta. They played a tough game yesterday against Porterville. Porterville hung in there, and the score was 3-2. Unfortunately for Porterville, unearned runs hurts you every time.
Every single time, and I was surprised about that because Porterville started off strong. They were a lot like, I think I compare them a little bit to Riverside. As they start off strong, but they always have that struggle in the middle of the season. And they played San Joaquin Delta tough yesterday. And now Riley Sipe, who has a home run, reached on an error in the first inning, scored twice. And she takes that one on the outside corner for a strike. The future Beecher, or Stingray, headed to Long Beach. She's been at Santiago Canyon longer than Bobby Hurley and Christian Leitner were at Duke. I mean, 8 years, between 8 years, each of them.
Hey, a lot of us are working on our graduate degrees, so,
And not like some community college football teams. Yeah, I got a gray shirt and a red shirt, black shirt, blue shirt, red shirt, yellow shirt. I've only been here 8 years. Get my chance this year. Outside, 1 ball, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Don't forget to take my class that I'm teaching on Saturdays.
There you go. That's a tank top. So Pasillas on first. 7-2 is your score. 11 hits for Santiago Canyon. And there's a good piece of hitting. Fair ball down the left field line. Okay. Mark, Ed, that's an all-stater. That's an all-American because she was way out in front. She completely fooled by the pitch, yet she stays with it and straight through the zone into left field.
Yeah, she's somebody who has great bat control. She's got excellent power. She's a good defensive player, too. That's what you like about her. And she has outrageous speed when you watch her on the base.
And she's one of those community college players, as Flores squares, and she takes a strike. 0-1, one of those community college players that people overlook and say she's from a community college, so she can't be that good. She can't be that impactful. But I think she's the type of player at the head of your team who will be impactful for the next 2 years for Long Beach. Flores chases one, and I don't know what she was swinging at. No balls, 2 strikes, bottom of the 3rd inning.
Well, I mean, and if you look at some of the teams around the nation right now, and you look at the ones, UCLA does take community college players. Oklahoma and Florida do take community college players.
And there's one golfed, and Sipe was so far off first base, and she thought that was going to drop. Febles caught it, had a little trouble catching it, then nonchalantly tosses over to first base for the second out.
Well, that just shows you how aggressive Sipe is as a runner, Corey, because that ball gets hit. She's almost standing at second base. And when you're up by 5 runs, you have no problem with her being aggressive as a runner.
And I was just going to say we jinxed her. Nah. Zock up. 1 for 2. Flew out to center field in the first. An RBI single in the second. Off-speed pitches in the dirt from Helmuth. Helmuth pitched yesterday. She got the loss. Struck out 1. Gave up 5 hits. On the season, she came in with a 2.47 earned run average. And she delivers a smoker in there for a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Bottom of the 3rd inning. Best of 3 in this series. SCC took the first game yesterday 4-2, looking to close it out here in this game. Off-speed pitch rolls in. 2-2-2. Runner at second is Pasillas. Ground ball to Medrano. Takes the big hop over to first and Flores. And that'll be it. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 1 left on base. Excuse me, that's no errors and 1 left on base. And at the end of 3, score is 7-2, Santiago Canyon in the CCCAA SoCal Regional Playoffs on SportsNetUSA.net. Corey Neyland, Mark Pavlovich, Ed Ford, Noah Alvarez, and Miss Neyland all on the call. And Mark wants to give some love to some OEC players, teams, coaches.
I do, and one of the players that I want to bring up too that was Player of the Year here in the Southern section was Diamond Lewis. You and I got to see Diamond Lewis play against Cypress a couple weeks ago from El Camino, and both you and I said this girl's D1 from the word go. She's just an outrageous third base person. Where you watch her, she's got great range. She made a play where on a foul ball that she tracked down in a game that was basically decided against Cypress and laid out flat and made it. So, I mean, I'm glad to see her become the Player of the Year basically from the Southern section.
Mark, she batted .443, 16 doubles, 5 home runs, 29 RBI, 33 stolen bases. That's what is impressive, 33 stolen bases to me.
And you were talking about, was it Madison Gallagher that you were talking about was the pitcher that you were so impressed with?
No, she was a player up in San Jose.
Okay, well, she was the Northern Player of the Year for the state when you look at her. Of course, when we talk about local players and anybody, well, Ryan Sipe, the player here, is an all-state player, one of the few that made it from this area. Of course, I got to give a little love to Fullerton College, who has bounced back. You look at Jessica Lopez, the right-handed pitcher for that team, got on there. And, of course, you look at Lulu Vasquez, another pitcher for Fullerton College. And if that's why Fullerton's going to do anything in the playoffs, it's because of those two right arms out there and because of the coaches that became coaches of the year. And we've already talked about Speedy, well-deserving to be coach of the year. Corey, you got some other people you want to throw out there, or just?
Well, I was going to go off of that point with Fullerton and the pitching you got, and Ed, we're gonna, if you got that stat, we'll bring it up in just a couple moments about earned run average, because we'll talk about Fullerton stuff and go into earned run average for Santiago College.
Well, let's duck in a real quick score for Fullerton College. Top of the 5th inning, it is Canyon's last chance. Fullerton leads them 8-0, top of the 5th.
And I think that's going to do it, Ed, for Fullerton. They're going to move on, and it's because of pitching. We always talk about earned run average. You know, I'm a guy, 2 and above is okay. Mark and is 1 and less is okay. This is laid down, and Stallings up with it, throws over the first, scoop by Pasillas. That's the first out. Good looking play to throw out Elise Allen. But that's the reason they're there, is the pitching. Fullerton has not had pitching for,
oh, geez, 3-4 years?
longer than that.
You know?
I mean, it's got to be at least a good 10 years before they had pitching like this to get them to the next level. So if you're scoring at home in that last play, it's 1-4, and this brings up Febles. The left-handed batter started out at first base, now at third base. And when you look at Santiago pitching and earned run average, since 2015, that's Febles. Through the 5-hole, base hit. 2015, 264, solid team. 326 in 2016. 524 in 2017, 370, 18, and this year 410 as a team, earned run average. Now that's one of those things that Mark would say, that's horrible.
Yeah, I will.
And when you look at this team, the difference between maybe those teams from 15, 16, and 17 where they just automatic is the hitting. With the hitting, you had runs scored in 2017, 415. In 2016, there's a base hit in the right center field, and that's going to bring Febles all the way around to third base. Nice piece of hitting by Ms. Diaz. Samantha Diaz gets her first hit of the game in the top of the 4th inning, and let's see if they have something to maneuver with here. But the difference between those teams is because they were a power hitting team. Emily Olagi was on those teams. Manoa Vigurtse was on those teams. And they had Alyssa Soika, who's at the University of Hawaii. They had teams that just, if they got on base, they were going to score. If they got up to the plate, they were going to score. It didn't matter.
Yeah, but the thing that's deceptive about ERA, too, when you look at it, I mean, team ERA is one thing. I think you need to look at the ERA. Let's say you have 3 pitchers and you have one outstanding pitcher, one good pitcher, and then one horrific pitcher. Your team ERA can be at 4, but in actuality, the person that walks in the circle every day, ERA is 2.22 or 1.89. So, I mean, team ERAs can be very deceptive.
Throw down to second, safe is Diaz. So she picks up a stolen base, and there's your thinking about running to get back into the game. They're down 7-2. It's the top of the 4th inning. You've got your best player, Kaylee Medrano, up to bat. Hit by pitcher last time at bat, got stranded at third base.
But I think the playoffs are very much, and if Ryan Osborne was here, I'd say, Ryan, it's much like hockey. You get somebody that's hot in the circle, you can ride that arm into a championship.
Medrano shows bunt, brings it back.
So I'll take the dark horse right now. I'll take Fullerton College.
You don't take El Camino?
No, I'm going to take Fullerton. I'm going to take Fullerton because they have 2 strong arms, not 1 strong arm.
And there's 3 balls and no strikes. Now here's the interesting situation that you're in. You have your best player up, your best hitter up, both home runs. You let her swing away 3-0 like you did with Riley Syke?
I do. I do. Again, you're down by 5. You've got to do something to get your team hyped up.
And she shows bunt, pulls back, and takes the strike, 3-1.
You like that spark that gets a team going.
You need it.
And the Lancers have not gotten that timely hit. If they could get that timely hit now, it's a new game.
And there's a pop-up on the infield. Pasillas, Sun, they can't see it, and that's going to fall in for a base hit. Coming home from third, sliding in safely is Febles. And that's just a sunny base hit. RBI single. 7-3 your score.
And those are the things you need sometimes to feel like you're not snake bit. I mean, Corey, it should have been an easy out when you think about it. You don't look at each other. You don't look if you're Garcia over at first, turn around and look at the second baseman and say, do I have it? And then you watch Diker as the right fielder just sort of wanders in and says at the last second, when everybody looks at her, what, you want me to catch it? Nobody called that ball. And that's why it dropped.
Well, the reason why it dropped is that Pasillas went back and she looked up and the sun got right in her eyes.
But nobody called it. You didn't see anybody waving anybody else off.
I thought Pasillas had it. Pasillas had it. She was going back there. First baseman was Nicole Garcia. She had no clue where it was. Pasillas was ranging over. She was the person who makes that catch in a normal situation. Diker was running in hopes to help her out. But yeah, there was just one of those things that breaks your way.
But then if you're Garcia, you go second, and you let even the second base person know, hey, this is yours, you got to get it.
Yeah, but it was dropping anyway. It was always going to drop once you saw her look up and shield her eyes. Base hit. And that's only the fifth base hit. Fifth base hit, and now you have one of your better players, second baseman, Danielle Ruiz, who is also all-conference out of South El Monte High School. The Eagle product, bats right, swings through, 0-2.
Again, you need that timely hit, and of course, you level it out and everything else and go after one around your shoulders. Got to find that ball you can drive. If you get a base hit or you hit it to the right part of the field, you get another run.
Situation with one out. Still a fourth inning. You're up by or down by 4 with runners at the corners. You got to make sure you get that runner at first base, Medrano, to second.
Boy, you need to get that run home too, Corey, here.
Ground ball. Baltiera over to first base. Double play. And Baltiera comes up with a huge play on a sharply hit ground ball. She flips to Pasillas. She turns it quickly to Garcia at first. And the double play ends the inning. And just like that, Mark, hope is snatched out of the air. As you end the top half of the fourth inning, you're down 7-3.
Ed Ford, I know you're still out there, so I've already made my poll prediction. I'm going to go with 2 strong pitchers from Fullerton to be in the playoffs, and I think they're going to make it into those final playoffs and be there and have a chance to really get into that championship game.
And Ed, also, can you tell us how many teams make the finals to go to state in Bakersfield?
Yeah, it's 4 teams from the north, 4 teams from the south. And just to give you a couple updates, Southwestern loses game 2 by a score of 8-2 against Cypress. So, Brad Pickler does have that, like Felix the cat. He's got that bag of tricks, that bag of magic. So he might have to, So then we have Cypress, Fullerton. We told you they won by a score of 8-0. So Canyons has been eliminated. Santa Ana is down 7-1 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Watch out. Antelope Valley scores 2 more runs, and that's a run rule game. I think let's see if we have any other scores for everyone out there. No score from Reedley. Sac City still leading 3-1. Feather River, bottom of this game's got to be over with because it's the bottom of the fifth and it's at San Jose, and San Jose is leading 13-0. So Feather River has been eliminated. No score from Porterville. We gave you Cerritos upsetting Mount Sac. And I think that's it. We've got no score from Citrus Palomar, no score from El Camino and San Diego Mesa. And, of course, any game that involves Monterey Peninsula, I'm sure that pigeon is still flying down the coast. And we'll know about that game maybe next week. So that's what's going on. The thing is, though, if there are no upsets, Fullerton is going to have to face El Camino. That will be very tough.
That'd be a fun game.
It would be a fun game, and that's the best matchup, in my opinion, the Fullerton can have. And there's a hit in the right center field, and on base is Sabrina Rivera. I think Fullerton, that's the best matchup for them. I think that they can beat El Camino and would beat El Camino in 2 out of 3.
Yeah, but I'm sure they would rather have Cypress lose, and then they move up the slot, and they would get some team other than El Camino. They would play Antelope Valley, which I think would be more to the Hornets' liking.
Yeah,
you don't want to play El Camino at home. I mean, look at El Camino's home record.
Lay down a bunt, foul for Stallings. Yeah, but I think your first choice would to have Cypress lose, but I don't think Cypress is losing now. And I think they would beat Antelope Valley because Antelope Valley just doesn't have the pitching that Fullerton has.
They did play at the end of the year. Who won that game?
Antelope Valley, didn't they?
Yeah, Brianna Garrett. You say she can't pitch?
And there goes Rivera taking second. She swipes that. No, I think Fullerton has better pitching because they have 2. But I simply think that in a 3-game series, Fullerton wins 2 out of 3.
Well, at home, yeah. Fullerton's the home team, yeah. At home, if it was at Antelope Valley, I'd give it to the Marauders.
Okay. Off-speed pitch popped in the left field. Looks like it's going to drop. It does not drop, as coming in quickly was Leilani Montanez.
Remember, Brianna Garrett threw 2 perfect games back-to-back.
Yeah.
So she's another quality pitcher out there. Not that Fullerton doesn't have 2 quality pitchers. Like I said, Jessica Lopez, she didn't get the preseason publicity like Lulu Vasquez, but she's the real ace.
Yeah, Lulu gets all the accolades. She was part of that Cypress team that went undefeated. Player of the Year that year as well, 2017. Helmet facing Viviana Vejar, comes up high.
Well, and what Fullerton's doing now, too, is they're scoring runs. This isn't a team that's winning games 1-0, 2-0. They're putting runs on the board, too, against their opponents. So they've found some sort of offense this late in the year.
And Mark and I were talking earlier about El Camino. We both like El Camino. I like them a little bit more because they have, in that game we saw them against Cypress, the pitching was better than it has been the last couple of years. It's been more consistent. And that's one of the things that Santiago Canyon, there's one in the left field. That's also to Montanez. She grabs that for the second out. Reminds me of the Santiago Canyon team from a couple years ago where their offense is explosive. But now they have a pitcher that can keep you in games for that explosion to happen.
Well, and you didn't see them give away a game against Cypress College. I mean, we talked about Diamond Lewis at third base. This woman is sensational as a third base person, but she's got other defensive players that can play that infield with her.
Yeah, and their key player, it's Diamond Lewis, yes, but their key player is going to be Cassidy Robinson. If she can come through, batting number 9 and playing solid left field, they go far. As Garcia steps in, struck out and walked, swings and misses there. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 7-3 is your score as we sit in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Well, and I think the win over Cypress was huge mentally for El Camino. You go to Brad's house and beat up Brad and his team. I think that's so close to the playoffs. I think that was a huge win for them against Cyprus just a couple weeks ago.
And Ed, what's your take on Palomar this year?
Same as always. Good team. Very good team. One of the top teams.
But does that even mean
That
they're
means
just going to
they'll-
sit there and do nothing?
No, that means they'll be in the state tournament.
Yeah, they're going to be there.
They would play, if there are no upsets, they would play Riverside.
And strike three swinging. And that'll do it. So with no runs, one hit, and no errors, and nobody left on base at the end of 4 complete. Santiago Canyon 7, Pasadena City 3. This is the CCCAA SoCal Regional Playoffs on SportsNetUSA.net.
If I was going to go up north to say, hey, the way you see teams and the way teams make the playoffs, I'd probably get a new Toyota before I did it. And if I was going to get a new Toyota before I drove to the CCCAA to tell them that they made a mistake the way they rank people, well, I'd go to Miller Toyota of Anaheim. Walk in there and say, hey, I hear you give the best deals in Orange County on a new or used Toyota, and find out what I need. I'd probably go with the electric car too, just because I'd want to say that I'm friendly to the environment. Me being that progressive young man that I am. I do something like that at Miller Toyota of Anaheim. So if you're getting ready to take a ride up north with me to the CCCAA and say, hey, let's rethink the way we do the playoffs. Of course, Ed Ford will be in the back seat. Don't forget, go to Miller Toyota of Anaheim looking for that new Toyota. Miller Toyota of Anaheim is a proud sponsor of community college sports, high school sports, but most of all, education. That's Miller Toyota of Anaheim. And since I got Ed Ford in the back seat, Ed, we talked to Lisa about the playoffs and everything else. I mean, are they ever going to get the way you seed things right? Let's be realistic. Is it ever going to get seeded properly that all the deserving teams make it?
Well, I would say no, but it is a matter of opinion, and if people use a certain formula, as long as it's consistent in the way they use the formula, I like what they did a couple years back when we could call it the Fullerton College Riverside rule, where Brad Pickler was telling us about it, that you have to at least get to 500 for consideration. Mm-hmm. Because remember that 1 year Fullerton and Riverside got in with sub 500 records overall. So
right.
You don't need sub 500 record teams in the regionals. I don't think that should happen. There's some teams, like I said, I think that Chaffee should have gotten in, and up north I'm not disappointed that Porterville got in. I was hoping they did, but I thought with Aloni and the way they came on at the end of the year, and traditionally they've done well, I thought that they would get the nod. But, if they just put in numbers and the numbers come out a certain way, and as long as there's no, politicking about it, then, it is a fair system. At least it can't be manipulated, but I think it does need to be tweaked somewhat.
I think we're all in agreement on that, as we have a new pitcher, Molly Smith, in the circle for Santiago. Steps in, and coming into yesterday, 64.2 innings pitched with a 2.81 earned run average, 22 strikeouts and 17 walks. The first 2 pitches on the way, split them, 1 ball, 1 strike, as Leilani Montanez out of Monrovia steps in.
You look at Leilani's batting .429, on-base percentage of almost 500.
There's a strike on the outside part of the plate. Montanez doesn't like that, as she... little smirk, would you call that?
She wasn't introducing herself to the president, was she?
She takes that one, slaps it. Altiera up and over. Gets the speedy Montanez, barely. bring up Oli Nanez.
Can you get into somebody else's head? I mean, unfortunately for the Lancers, they've got to come here 2 years in a row and play Santiago. This is almost a similar scenario. Of course, they come back last year, but Corey, it's the same team, same results.
Nanez pops out to left field, and Flores calls it. Yeah, it is, Mark, and I think you can a little bit, and this is where you and Ed were just talking about tweaking or straight up changing the system on how you get into the playoffs, because a lot of these teams have similar records every single year because they play the same teams over and over again, so you're going to have similar records and the same results. And there's what'd you call that, a high rise?
Yeah, a smile on the face. It was like, okay, that one's for Mr. Pavlovich because he'd have swung at it.
Got a little stuck in her hand. Smith out of Cypress High School. Popped up, diving and making the catch is Sabrina Rivera to end the inning. And that's the first 1-2-3 inning of the game for either team. And as we move to the bottom half of the fifth inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. 7-3 Hawks looking to advance to the Super Regionals next week.
And here's my thing for you and Corey, because I'd like to see it in community softball. Could we not sort of try and work it out like they do in D1 softball so that you could have Southern teams playing Northern teams at this stage of the game? Or is that just too much to ask for and say that it would cost too much to do that at this stage of the game? I'd like to see with Northern teams play a Southern team at this stage. And if you end up with all Southern teams at the end of the day or all Northern teams at the end of the day, well, the best 4 softball teams are there. I'd like to see that instead of guaranteeing that somebody from the South and somebody from the North make it into those Final 4. I'd like to change it where South plays North now.
Well, go ahead, Ed.
I can't really argue against that. One of the problems is I think the transportation costs, because certain teams just, it's a far drive. I mean, that's one thing that kind of hurts teams with the RPI and all that, because if you have the OEC, let's say, it's a very compact conference. Everybody is really within 15 air miles, of each other. Everybody is close together. Riverside's the only one that's way out there in softball. But then you go to a conference where Reedley is in the Central Valley Conference, or where Lassen College is with Shasta. Those people have, there's 200 miles in between schools, so they can't drive around as much. And I've been told by a coach that, some of the teams that would like to move up and get stronger RPIs and stronger competitions, some of the schools that are more the up, at the top level, the elite, they don't even want to play them. So how do you move up if you can't even schedule games against people?
Yeah, that's true. And I know you guys were talking about earlier, like what they do in football, making a higher division, American division, national division type. And there's a base hit in the left field. And Baltier is trying to make up for those 2 errors, and she has. After those 2 errors, she's come up big.
But I could see where you could, if they could solve the transportation issue, I could see, I wouldn't object to, when you get to the super regionals, at least, I think the regionals, you could keep them at where they are now. But when you get to the super regionals, hey, that might be an interesting thing to do. Mix up the Northern and Southern California teams then.
I'd love to see that. I mean, you take 4 teams from down here, put them up north, and 4 from up north and bring them down here and make them play in the super regionals. I think that would be the best option for everybody. Outside, throw down to first is back in time, because it would create more interest, more urgency as well.
You talk about rivalry.
Yeah.
Bragging rights. If you end up with nothing but North winning everything, then it's bragging rights for the North, or it's bragging rights for the South. I mean, that's one of the things that all these community colleges love.
Casillas lays down a beautiful bunt. She sacrifices the runner over to second, and she's out at first, and that'll be the first out. Can you imagine, guys? And we bring up Cal State Fullerton versus Long Beach all the time. Yeah, no rings here, but we got this. Can you imagine San Mateo playing Fullerton right now in the Super Regional next week. Well, you got us in football, but we'll get you back in softball.
Yeah, Corey and I are big supporters, as you are, Ed, of community college sports. And we just think there needs to be this rival that goes on, which creates fans coming out. Fans love. I mean, look at the turnout for this game, Corey. Nothing but fans for both teams. You really love that rivalry feel when you get teams against each other.
Off-speed pitch outside from Helmuth. She liked it. Home plate umpire didn't like it.
Well, I think they took a positive step by going back to the old format of 8 teams into the state championship. So, yeah, that was a step forward.
Another deep shot in the left center field, and that's going to hit the fence. And she stays at first for an RBI single. Riley Sipe now 3 for 4 on the game with a home run and 2 singles.
And Corey, what you like about Sipe, you've said to it already, she can go the other direction when the ball is given to her as a hitter. She can go that direction with power. She can pull the ball. She can get on with a bunt, and her speed end up being at second base.
And how important was that sacrifice to move the runner over to second base? It may not be a big deal at first, but then you get a long single, scores a run, and now it's 8-3. 15 hits for Santiago Canyon, and they've got the 8-3 lead. With only 5 hits for Pasadena. A new pitcher, Brittany Lopez, who was 8-4 during the regular season, the 4.48 earned run average.
And you know what sort of cracks me up? Corey Naylor was talking about, well, you look at Santiago with these high ERAs, and they used to be able to score runs, and of course, we show up last year, and we show up again this year. And what did they do, Corey? They score runs. So you sort of wonder, let's Lisa save it for the end of the year?
And Sipe was the only all-conference, first-team all-conference for the Hawks.
She was the only all-state player for the Hawks, too.
Yes, second-team all-conference in the OEC. They had Ashlyn Clifford and Cosette Zock, who were all-conference. Tiana Flores was an honorable mention, but Sipe wasn't the only all-state player for Santiago Canyon, and she deserved it. I mean, she's one of the better players in the state. You know, it didn't hit me till recently when we watched LA Valley earlier in the season when they played Oxnard with Roldan, who played for Oxnard. She had a wonderful season. It'll be interesting where she will go play in her next 2 years.
Ducking in a score for you guys. Sac City, the Panthers have punched their ticket into the Super Regionals. A 12-1 thumping of Shasta. That was in 6 innings.
So the Panthers in again. And they've got a chance. You said earlier, Ed, that they're a pretty good team. They've always got a chance as long as they can keep in the ball game without any mental errors.
A couple other finals for you. It was San Joaquin Delta, the Mustangs. They defeat Porterville today by a score of 5-1. So San Joaquin Delta, congratulations, they're in the Super Regionals. Sequoias beats Foothill by a score of 5-4. 4 Foothill errors, and that's something that's plagued that team all year long. And they'll have to play one more game. Foothill had a game where I think they were leading.
And there's the throw down to first, another 5-3 out. That's the second out, but again advances Sipe to second. And you were saying Foothill, Mark? Or Ed?
Yeah, and I believe they had some outrageous amount of wild pitches. I mean, I think it was over 5. I think it was something like 7, and they lost the game. So, but it's good to see the Owls back in the playoffs again, and let's see if we can. No score for the rest of the games. The scores have not updated. Santa Ana and Antelope Valley. It's in the 6th. Santa Ana's down by a score of 7-1. I think we've already got Cerritos and Mount Sac restarting. Yes, it's in the bottom of the 2nd, and Mount Sac leads 1-0.
And you know what? I'm hoping Cerritos wins, guys, even though I went to Mount Sac. I'm kind of rooting for Cerritos.
And, guys, I'm just going to give a little more love to Fullerton. You talked about the pitching. 2-hitter in the second game today.
And there's one line to Madrano. That's the 3rd out. So no runs, 1 hit. Or 1 run, 2 hits. Ugh. No errors and one left on base. At the end of 5, it is 8-3 Hawks. This is the CCCAA SoCal Regional Playoff on SportsNetUSA.net. And Ed, you go back to that Foothill Sequoias matchup. It's now tied 1-1. I think we had, or at least Mark and I had Sequoias beating Foothill
Yep.
in that series. It'll be interesting on that in that third game.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Well, I think the Southwestern Cypress game is going to be interesting. I know Brad won that game, but you know what Brad always says about his team? Well, they read their own headlines. You know, and the thing I think is, can Brad Pickler convince his team, you know, to play like they did that first game? Of course, money would be, yeah, bet on Cypress. But you know what? If you're Southwestern, you got absolutely nothing to lose. If you lose to Cypress, everybody goes, yeah, well, unfortunately, you played Cypress. You know?
Looking quickly at that Foothill Sequoias game, Foothill 4 errors, and that led to 3 unearned runs. No, I'll take that back. 4 unearned runs were scored by Sequoias. So, you know, that defense, if you can't hold your defense, you just can't. Sequoias is a good team. They came on at the end and proved they were strong and won the Central Valley Conference. They edged out Reedley. They're not a team to be taken lightly, and as I said, that's been one of Foothill's problems this year. They have good hitting. The pitching's good too, but they just, you know, wild pitches and errors, and they just have they pick the wrong time to start throwing the ball around or booting it or
well, you can't win
flinging
with
it.
you can't win with shoddy fielding. And I mean, you know, let's give it right now. In saying that, I know Santiago hasn't played the best defensively, but at the same time, you look at their opponents, haven't played the best defensively.
So when that evens out, let's hope you hit good.
Yeah, exactly, Corey. You're exactly right on that one.
So Flores struck out in her only at bat thus far. She came in when Gabby Perez was ejected in the second inning. Molly Smith still in the circle, comes up high, 1-1. Or excuse me, 2-0.
And we still have no score with Solano and San Mateo. I'm going to bet, though, that San Mateo is going to take that game.
Yeah, I think so. And did we ever get the score for Monterey Peninsula from yesterday?
No, I believe that Pigeon stopped at Mark's house and Mark's cat just, that's why all the feathers were on the floor. So they'll have to send another one.
And the problem is that he ate the score sheet, too. So, you know, I could have told you guys, but
3 balls and 1 strike to Flores. Defense the same for Santiago. And Flores takes the ball outside. So that'll be the first walk leadoff runner aboard.
and again, if you're a Lancer fan, Corey, you cannot say that the Lancers have not had opportunities to be much closer in this game. I mean, they've had bases loaded, couldn't get anybody in. They had runners at second and third, couldn't get anybody in. So it's not a team that hasn't had runners on base against Santiago.
And they've left 6 on base thus far. So that equals 1 an inning.
Yeah,
So
you know.
at least you're getting on base. You just haven't been executing. Haven't had that one big hit. They've got 3 runs. They're down 5. Throw down to first. Sabrina Rivera is quick. Elise Allen 0 for 2.
And when you're down by 5, we've seen a lot of the Lancers take close pitches for third called strikes. You know, as a player, hey, we're down. If it's close, I got to swing at it.
And there's a swing and a miss. 1 and 2. I was bad because I just didn't want to get hit by the ball, so that's why I said swinging.
Well, I had a coach that always told me to hit that rock, so I was looking for the wrong thing.
And there it goes down, swinging 3-2, and as long as you're not Pookie from New Jack City, it's okay. And that'll bring up Valley Febles. Reached on an error in the second, singled and scored a run in the third. Excuse me, make it the fourth.
Got me over here with my eraser, scribbling.
And she takes that pitch for a strike on the outside corner. Again, home plate umpire Dave George. In the field, Jason Robinson down first. At second, you see there's John Bennett. Flare down left field. And we're talking, you know, I blame Mark and Ed for watching too much softball and finding these games. The other day I was watching from 7 months ago the Czech Republic versus the Netherlands in softball. It was fun.
Men or women?
Facts. Well, actually, I watched women in that game. Then I watched the men play softball, the Czech Republic versus USA in fast pitch. You know, I missed my career calling. Should have stayed in shape. This one's bounced to third. Sock over to second, over to first, not in time on a turnaround from Pasillas. But they do get the lead runner for the second out. And this will bring up top of the order, Samantha Diaz.
So you said you missed your calling. Why? Did they need people for concessions?
No. I could have gotten, in some type of shape and play. There are a couple players out there in some type of shape. First pitch outside and high, 1-0. But no, it's very interesting.
Fluffy's not a shape, man.
Hey, yes it is. But the Netherlands had a player who was the first European player to play in the top Japan League, signed a few years back. And there's a strike on the inside, 1-1. That was Eva Dortmund.
Yeah, if there were some of the top male pitchers, those guys can hum it in fast pitch. Not that the women can't, because they can too.
Oh, beautiful pitch by Smith. And that was more than off speed.
That was no slow motion.
I was going to say that was no speed.
Stop action.
Oh, Cecil. And that misses barely.
I mean, if Foghorn Leghorn would have been up there, he'd have said,
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. 6th inning, top side. And the only reason I watched the Netherlands and the Czech Republic as it's popped up, as Zott calls off everyone and makes the 3rd out. So no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. 8-3, Santiago Canyon College over Pasadena City College. And the only reason I watched that game, me in the Czech Republic, but the Netherlands, Santiago Canyon had a player from the Netherlands a couple years ago, and Manoa Vagertse, who's over now at Cal Baptist. And so she's still playing over there.
Corey, we talked about, we always bring up Ed, but Ed, when we talked about the All-State, we did sort of not say anything about the Northern California player. Coach Rooney, who's in her 28th season, Debbie Rooney over at San Jose City College, was the Northern Coach of the Year. And, of course, we already talked about Emily McAdams was the Player of the Year for the North, and she is from the College of San Mateo when you think about it up there. Pitcher, right-handed pitcher.
We have some updates for everyone. In the bottom of the 3rd inning, it is Mount Sac 2-0 over Cerritos College. No score from Monterey, no score from San Diego Mesa and El Camino. Santa Ana goes down by a score of 10-1. 10 runs, 15 hits, and 1 error for Antelope Valley. 1 run, 4 hits, and 1 error for Santa Ana. So Santa Ana is eliminated. Antelope Valley will be in the Super Regionals. What others?
What about the Riverside game? Do we have a score on that?
Riverside game, that game is going to start at 4. So
the second game is starting at 4?
It looks that way. Looks like
Wow.
they're going to play 4 o'clock and then
Into the
a
night.
nighttime game.
Wow.
Palomar has beaten Citrus, but with the Palomar scores, it's very strange. They only feed it partly, so we're going to say Palomar has beaten Citrus. We don't know exactly the score quite yet. They kind of feed it in bits and pieces. 2 innings, then 3 innings, then 4 innings, then 5, then they'll finish off the game later on.
I'm going to say 9-1.
That could be a good guess. Top of the first, Sequoias and Foothill. No score as of yet. And I believe the Cypress game has just started. That is the top of the first inning, and no score between those two. We still have the Fresno and Sierra game, which, according to the Triple C AA, all the games are supposed to start at noon. Well, I guess it has, but there's no score as of yet. So they must have picked a hamster to bring that score down. It's weird. We had the playoffs going. You would think that live stats and everything else would be being used for all the playoff games, but obviously not.
You'd think. I mean, I'd even save up money if you're a school just for the playoffs and you know you're going to make it. And Sierra was my team at the beginning from up north after San Mateo. I thought they'd really do a little bit better during the regular season.
Well, they won the state championship in 2014, and they're not out of it yet.
Lopez delivers on an 0-2 pitch low.
They beat Fresno yesterday by a score of 4-0. So.
Well, that's a little surprise on the Riverside game because, you would think it would be uniform that all the games would start at the same time.
Yeah, but Riverside, Bakersfield, that's a long drive. Nice cut by Rivera.
Yeah, but they played yesterday.
Last night, though. They played last night at the same time.
Yeah, come on. They're youngsters. There was a time that you got up actually at 9 o'clock in the morning and didn't feel bad, Corey.
When was this? 2 balls, 2 strikes, no outs.
Well, I know it's not in the last 18 years.
Never, Mark. Lopez with the face mask delivers, and there's one lined up the middle. Sabrina Rivera, her second straight single. I'm sorry, her third straight single.
This Santiago team has found offense. And again, you talk about momentum, you bring it up. I mean, does this carry over to next weekend?
The offensive side, yes. They better hope the defensive side and the 2 errors don't, because they haven't been the crispest on defense. Molly Smith will check in, step up, faces and pops back. 0-1.
Well, defense is a head game. I mean, if you're somebody that starts making errors, it gets in your head. The best thing you can do is have a weekend go by so you're not on the field, because you really can start thinking at certain times, man, square up. You start thinking too much defensively.
She lays one down. Up comes Feblis and sacrifices it over. So she does her job, getting Rivera over to second base. 5-4 on the putout. And this will be Viviana Vejar will check in, right-handed batter. Vejar out of Esperanza. And you talk about mascot names, Mark. Check out the names from the teams we have here from the Orange County teams. Foul tipped. And the teams over from not Orange County. Orange County needs to have a whole lot of updates.
Wait a minute. There's nothing wrong with the Hawks.
Talk about the high schools.
Oh, the high schools. Okay.
This one's popped straight up. Caught by Lopez. Does not advance the runner. 2 outs. For Nicole Garcia. Now, do you pronounce that high school Monache? Monachi?
I have no idea.
The Marauders?
There's nothing wrong with the Marauders.
No, nothing wrong with the Marauders, but I just don't know how to pronounce the first name. The high school name. and that's a first. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th inning. Garcia struck out, walked, and struck out.
Batting 231 coming into the playoffs.
Good pitch by Lopez, jammed her on the outside.
And again, when you look at the numbers, you're always going to get the argument, is it batting average, is it on-base percentage? You know I love on-base percentage. When you look at it, it says a lot more about a hitter than just how often they get a base hit.
And you know I like the batting average. Because I think if you can prove you can hit, you're always going to get on base. Doesn't matter if you walk or not, but you're always going to get there. You're always going to put the ball in play.
And slugging percentage to me is deceptive. I mean, if you're somebody who's fast, you can have a high slugging percentage.
Good pitch by Lopez.
You know, you can be somebody who takes advantage of defenses that are lazy, that don't go after the ball. You can turn and get to second. Next thing you know, you've got 14 doubles for the year. Oh, your slugging percentage is outrageous. Actually, you've done it all because you're fleet of foot. And because baseball and softball is such a numbers game.
And I'm going to let them call that one. I'll let you watch that on the air on that pitch, as it's now 3 balls and 2 strikes.
If I've got my right hand scratching my left knuckle, that's a swing.
Three balls, 2 strikes. And let's see if Garcia makes him pay. This is the second time there's been a controversial pitch called non-strike
or a strike that was, where, like you said, a strike was called when there was an opportunity for the Lancers to possibly get back in this softball game, and it was a called third strike that, for our perspective, looked a little low.
Yeah, and I think the umpires have done a great job today.
They have, yeah, because there has been controversy that they have handled very well on the field.
Payoff pitch. No doubt about that one, a swing and a miss. And this will end the inning. So we move to the top of the 7th, Mark. Ed, Noah, Pasadena's the last chance to keep their season alive. They're down 5, 8-3. This is the CCCAA SoCal Regional Playoffs on SportsNetUSA.net.
You know, and I really do think Friday Night Mikes ought to have a conversation one night about how come there are certain sports that are still so number-oriented and other sports that are not. I mean, we look at a batter, be it in a softball game or a baseball game, and they're batting 231. We go, oh, my goodness, I got a baseball coach sitting to my left. And we say, oh, my goodness, they're only batting 231. What, Coach, why do you keep them out there? But if we have a basketball player that's shooting 54% from the free throw line, I'm giving excuses by every basketball coach that exists.
And
hey,
Mark,
it's not that easy. Come on, guys. It's not easy to hit over 300 in softball or baseball. And if you're hitting 400 in softball, it's outrageous.
I don't think you compare that in any way.
It's a numbers game.
Not a numbers game.
It is a numbers game.
If you shoot 54%, you said, from the free throw line in basketball, you can't shoot a free throw. You're not good. You're not a good free throw shooter. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, but you say that in baseball, though. Blatantly, you'll go, the guy's hitting 238. I mean, do we hear anything about the Mendoza? Is there such a Mendoza line in basketball as there is in baseball? No.
Well, what do you mean by Mendoza line?
Yeah, I mean, he's hitting under the Mendoza line. Oh, that's horrible.
So,
her fielding percentage.
Context?
Her fielding percentage. That they're not that qualified. That they shouldn't be a starter. But why are they on the team? You don't say that about other sports out there, but you do about softball and baseball because it's such a numbers
because
game.
It's not comparable. That's why baseball and softball are number games. The other sports are not numbers games. You have analytics. Okay, you talk about numbers and those analytics nowadays. That's the Houston Rockets. That's a numbers game. That's why you don't play simply the numbers game, because you'll be good for a while, but really comes down to it, you're not going to get the brass ring. You're not going to be able to do that. And you're a starter. If you shoot 54% from the line, but you average 30 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 assists. That's why you're starting, because you do multiple things well. You talk about a numbers game, that's it. Same way in baseball. If you're batting 238, you're not a good hitter. There's a right fielder for your Los Angeles Angels of California, Anaheim.
What's the name of that team?
I don't know, but you got a right fielder over there who can't hit a lick, but he's been playing right field continuously because they say he's a good right fielder. His first pitch is 0-1. You've got teams here. You look at this earned run average for Santiago College in 2016, which was over 3, a 3.25. There's a ground ball to short. Baltiero over to Garcia, 1 away. But they averaged 9 runs a game, and that outweighed it.
Well, I mean, they have an on-base percentage of 400 for Santiago, and you look at the Lancers with an on-base percentage of 407. But, I mean, it's always that number game. If they're down there, like on the fielding percentage, which I brought up to start this game at 936, you say, oh, that should be much better. These are two of the sports that it really is a number-based sport. Sometimes that's unfair when you talk about how good teams are. They rise to the occasion. They win in the playoffs.
And that's good. No one said they're not a good team.
No, I'm just saying that this sport is too much of a number sport.
So you want players on your team who only bat 200. That's what you're saying.
No, I didn't say that. But I don't base everything. I mean, you don't base everything on numbers. You and I have argued ERA for the last 5 years.
That's because
softball.
I can't add. I can't do math, so of course I can't do math. No, but yeah, I'm not a numbers guy. Never have been. Inside. 2 ball, 3 balls in 1 strike.
Ed and I have already discussed the RPI. That's ridiculous for teams to have it weigh 25% here, 25% there.
Yeah.
They get you in the playoffs because look who you play.
And there's one line to left. And Ed brought up a good point about the teams up north playing against each other. That's a good basis of not having an RPI because it's not a true representation of the team.
I mean, if I go 40-0, but my RPI is low, I should, it's like, come on, guys. They did that to UCLA in the D1 rankings.
Pop straight back.
D1, UCLA drops from number 1 because their RPI goes down in softball. And they dropped them, yet UCLA lost one game to a Pac-12 team. Come on, guys, let's be realistic. UCLA is the best team in the nation right now for women's softball.
And there's ball 4 outside. Ruiz draws the walk. And all SCC team, all first team SCC gets on first. And Natalia Velasquez now comes up. And Velasquez, she's in the PCC record books as most hits in a season, tied 62 last year. Most at-bats second with 146 behind Diane Anderson in 1991. Under coach Tantlinger, Karina Moreno in 2017, most runs scored in the season with 48. So she's brought some offense to the Lancers.
When I looked at those records, though, I thought one of the most impressive one was Amber Bragg. Back-to-back season of 43 stolen bases.
Yeah, that put her in the top 15, I believe, in the state for a single season all time.
I mean, that's just outrageous. 86 stolen bases in 2 years in the game of softball.
The record in the state is 62. And a couple years ago, you speak of stolen bases, Mark. A couple years ago, Santiago College had a player who reached the top 10 in stolen bases for a single season. Actually, 69 by Liz Perez out of West Valley in 2006 is the record. And there's one lifted in left field. Under it is Flores for the second out. Santiago Canyon, where am I looking? Jessica Daniel, 2016, 46 stolen bases. That's good for 11th in a single season in California.
She probably had 3 teammates that had 35, 33, and 34
You know she did, actually.
that year.
Alyssa Soiko, I believe she had 34 that year, 35 that year. And who was the other person? They had one more person who
I'm
had
trying
over
to
30.
remember that they had 3 players that were over 30 stolen bases the one year we came here and did a regional game. So Lexi Rios, freshman third baseman, now is going to come to the plate. You look at Lexi Rios so far this season, sitting 148, but hasn't played a lot for this Pasadena team. So she's only been in 17 games. She's only had 25 at-bats. And you like the fact, I do love the fact that coaches give players an opportunity like this, Corey. Because you come out and practice every day, and they give them the opportunity to get in the game and feel the excitement of being in a playoff game. So hats off to the coaching staff for the Pasadena Lancers.
She takes the first pitch inside. Jessica Daniel also had 66 runs that year for Santiago Canyon.
Lisa's had some players here, my
friend.
She
has. I'm looking for the home runs because I know Emily Alagi is in the home run record book. And she takes that one high for a ball, 2 balls and no strikes. Emily Olagi, RBIs number 10, 72 and 16.
And yes, they do include the playoffs when they do the record, but you're still looking at maybe 40 games with 72 RBIs. So you're averaging 2 RBIs a game almost.
Yeah, and Olagi, again, walks that season, had 36.
Yeah.
And that was just an impressive player back then.
Well, the thing is, too, if you've got to see her play, especially if you saw her sitting where we're at right now, when she'd hit the ball, you just stare at each other.
Tied for 11th, and there's a line out to how appropriate to Baltiera. And she makes the final out of the game, and that's going to end the season for Pasadena City as they lose 8-3. So Santiago Canyon, Mark, once again, they're just there. They move on to the Super Regionals next week.
Yeah, and really once they did it with adequate pitching, Corey. I mean, you really have to give it to them in the circle today. They did well. Again, they dodged not playing solid defense. They had a couple of errors out there, and those errors allowed the Lancers to get back in the game. But I tell you what, they can hit the softball as well as anybody else in the state. And if for some reason they were to get magical in the circle, this would be a team you wouldn't want to see as those final 4 teams when it comes to the end of the rainbow.
Ed, you got anything for us before we get out of here?
What do you want?
Any scores before we wrap it on up?
Yeah, we'll get you some scores here. Let's see what our scoreboard looks like right now. Don't believe we've got any updates. Cypress in the first inning. It's actually in the bottom of the first inning. I believe Cypress had a runner on, but as of yet, no score. No score out of, we have a score for Bakersfield and Riverside. It's in the middle of the second inning, 2-1, and Riverside on top. That game at RCC. Bottom of the fourth, Mount Sac leading Cerritos by a score of 2-0. No score on Sierra and Fresno City. That game should be over. Same thing with San Diego Mesa and El Camino. Palomar, we have another one of these magic scores. We're just going to give this one to Palomar, and they shut out Citrus by a score of 5-0. That may not quite be the final score, but we know that Palomar won, so Palomar has punched their ticket into the Super Regional. So has Antelope Valley with this game where they beat Santa Ana. Of course, today's game, Super Regional action for Santiago. San Jose qualifies, so does Sac City. Foothill and Sequoias will have to fight it out. San Joaquin Delta in. And we're going to say that San Mateo probably is in. We've got a top of the third score, 9-1 San Mateo, but that game's probably over by now.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, if they don't win, I'm buying lunch for everybody.
Hey, Ed, before you leave, though, I mean, you've been around Lisa enough as a coach. We've done enough playoff games, and you've interviewed her more than once on sportsnetusa.net. We already look at teams and everything else, and this is a team that I think you need to watch out for because they can hit as well as anybody. And I think the element that they bring to the game is speed. You can't coach speed. So I think Lisa's got a team that if she can find a little pitching as well as she found today, they could be very problematic as these play-ons go on. You've watched them enough. Where do you sort of line up this Santiago Ball Club as we move on?
Well, they have 3 pitchers, and if you have one coming back from an injury and starting to regain their composure, their footing, their rhythm, that's going to help. So you have 3 pitchers, and if Lisa can, schedule her pitching as she did against Pasadena here, it could work out well for her. The thing they really have to watch out for is, gotta eliminate those errors. You just can't. The way things look, they would go on to play. If Mount Sac beats Cerritos, Santiago plays Mount Sac. You're not going to be able to do that against Mount Sac. Mount Sac is got too many offensive weapons. They've got great pitching. They have the other Brianna, and you're not going to be able to make errors. If Cypress loses, then Santiago would play Corey. Who would they play? They would play.
If Cypress loses, Riverside.
Yeah. They'll play Riverside, depending on
if they win.
If Riverside wins. So there could still be some mixing up of what happens, but right now it kind of looks like all the teams that were favored are going to be in. The ones we still have to decide that are going to 3 games are Cerritos and Mount Sac, also Sequoias and Foothill. I think there's one more. The Cypress game, of course.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ed. And winning pitcher is Danielle Stallings. Player of the game, Riley Sipe. For Ed Ford, Noah Alvarez, thank you for getting us on the air. For Mark Pavlovich and Gabby Neyland, well, Mark, it's always a pleasure. I'm Corey Neyland. We hope to be back next week with the Super Regional. But this final, Santiago Canyon advances with 2-0 over Pasadena. This game 8-3, yesterday 4-2. You've been listening to the CCCAA SoCal Regional Playoffs on SportsNetUSA.net.